You're gonna love this video. Every bride deserves a wedding planner. Hi Samantha, so can you tell us what do you do?
Yes, so I am a wedding planner. I started my company about 3 years ago. We're going into our third year, and we specialize in weddings. So we don't do too many other events, so mostly focused on weddings.
So can you go into more detail about your event planning business?
Sure. So at the very beginning, I started partnering up with another friend of mine that had a staffing agency, and so she needed a little bit of help organizing her business procedures, and I came from assisting at a wedding venue and doing meeting and event planning for a corporation, and so I was like, okay, let's kind of start this going. And we realized that it was a missing factor for some of the weddings that are more on the outskirts of town, where you have a lot of brides that are doing everything themselves, and they needed someone to help pull in all the final details for the day. So we saw that as kind of a gap in what was needed and what was being provided, and so we started doing that. And then I just started developing into doing planning for all of the rest of the parts of the wedding, and helping with design and bringing in vendors and all the logistics of the entire weekend.
So what makes you unique from the other planners out there?
I think that there is a wedding planner for every bride, and my clients book me because they like me and they trust me. And I'm a process-driven person. I believe that there's a really organized way that you can do things, and it should be kept simple. Let's present options, make a decision, and move on. And that's kind of how I am. I'm no fuss, no muss. I want them to enjoy the process of planning their wedding. And I stay pretty calm throughout, which I think is something that my brides really care about and have remarked on a lot, that I didn't realize was something that they really cared about, which sounds kind of like, of course it would be, but I'm pretty calm and straightforward and honest, and I think that they appreciate that. I also focus more, again, on the process of it versus creating this really beautiful wedding that maybe doesn't run as smoothly. Mm-hmm. And I would rather it be approachable to anybody, that anybody can have a smooth running wedding day where they're not stressed out and get to enjoy every moment, whether they're spending $15,000 or $100,000. And so I think that process can be laid out with any budget, and that's what it's about, because it's about how the couple feels on their wedding day and the engagement, which is the wedding planning process.
So what do you say to brides that want to do it themselves?
I say that there are some things that you can do yourself, but I think it comes down to having a professional that is not part of your wedding party or your family to be responsible for things. Because if something's going wrong, you don't want your mom running around trying to figure it out, or your aunt, and there are always plenty of hands to help, but sometimes it's better if someone that is not in the family mix and drama that can just be like, here's what we're doing, this is what's happening next. And so that's kind of the backbone of my business, is wanting to make sure that it's approachable for someone at any budget. And doing the lavish weddings are great and fun and exciting, but at the same time, every bride deserves to have a wedding coordinator, and they deserve to be able to be a little hands-off on their wedding and not worry if the cake is being delivered or not, and just enjoy it. So I fully believe that it's not like yes, I want to, but you deserve to have it. So I wanted to make sure that it stays approachable for anybody at any budget, that it can be affordable, and that they find value in it.
So how can the bride choose the right venue?
I would say go in, again, with a figure of what you're comfortable, a range and spending, and with an approximate guest count to start. But when you're actually touring the venues, I would say, honestly, it's kind of woo-woo, but like how you feel in the space. And if it really kind of like touches you and you're like, I feel like this is where I want to get married. And I had a friend who said that she was in the chapel of her potential venue and her fiance turned around and it was like, oh, and so that's why she picked it. So there's also the things that, matter. Can your guest count fit? And what kind of amenities do they have? and just look at it. Ask them to write up a quote if they have food and beverage that's required with an in-house caterer, and get a quote for what your actual expenditure would be, because sometimes it's higher than you think for your guest count. And then just take a look at how many hours you have at the venue. That's important. How early you can get there if you want to do some of your setup yourself, which is tricky. How many hours that your vendors have to set up, and just the logistics of the space. If there's a backup for power outage, because that's happened. Do they have a generator? And indoor versus outdoor, because we have so many outdoor weddings, and Houston is hot and rainy. So
what tips do you have for having a great event?
I would say figure out who's paying and how much they are paying, and that's the trickiest subject. And my sister just got engaged, so I'm like, oh man, this is like my family now, that we're like, all right, who's contributing to the budget? So figuring out who's going to contribute and how much up front, have the uncomfortable conversation. Some parents need a newer figure of what things cost, which can be a little bit of a sticker shock. So easing them into that and having them go on tours with you for potential venues, or look at catering menus to kind of get their whereabouts and get comfortable with some numbers, I think is important. And then I would say figuring out what is important about the event or your wedding, and what matters to you. If it's having an intimate, 50 people or less, and having really great food, and it's only 2 hours long and there's no dancing, then so be it. Whatever matters to you, not necessarily doing something because somebody else expects you to.
So how can brides reach you?
By email. I love email. So you can find me online at www.planourdayhouston.com. Try to be pretty straightforward with my name and my process. Email, there's a contact form on there, or you can email me directly, Samantha at planourdayhouston.com. Planourdayhouston.com is the best way.
Hopefully those tips will help plan your perfect day. This is Marianne with Bridal Extravaganza TV. Stay tuned for more videos.